Chris Broussard. I'm Kevin Wilds, next to a very sweaty.
I might
Nick
move
Wright.
here. This is just great.
I love it here.
Wilds walked the beach this morning and then walked in and asked Gianna, why doesn't everyone just live here?
Well, I was doing outdoor pull-ups, bro.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah,
Hustle Beach.
Yeah, feeling
I'm
great.
impressed.
Some dips, some
He's
pull-ups.
such a showboat.
No, I kept my
You're
shirt on.
such a showboat.
But it was great.
Kevin Wilds secretly jacked.
Not a
but-
secret.
There you go. But wants people to know about it on the beach.
Not a secret. We are here celebrating a countdown to the 2026 World Cup, which is on Fox. We've got a concert with Shabuzi tonight, and then a big kickoff tonight at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Carissa, Stu, Alexi joining us, Stu joining us, Tom Rinaldi will be with us. We also want to walk you through a handful of dates as we count down all the way to the final
Can't wait.
at MetLife. So the first date we're going to count you down to is actually just a hop, skip, and a jump away. This is June 15th, this weekend, USA Trinidad and Tobago CONCACAF Gold Cup.
Yeah, don't care that Pulisic's not playing. This is a must-win. Trinidad ended our World Cup hopes 7 years ago, a couple World Cups ago, a game we just needed a draw. They beat us. I understand it's not a lot of the same players. Still revenge game. The U.S. has lost 4 in a row. Got to win it.
Revenge or not, we need a W.
Yeah, damn
Yeah,
straight.
we have to get the
need a
momentum
W.
going.
Absolutely.
Lost 4 straight.
Absolutely.
Then after that, of course, the Gold Cup final. Brew, we've had success in this. This is July 6th, again, 7 o'clock on Fox.
Yeah, look, 6 of the last 12 Gold Cups we have won. And then the three of those we didn't. We finished runner-up. So we're expected to have a great Gold Cup. That's why it's been so disappointing so far. But this is a chance against Trinidad and Tobago to really right the ship and go into this thing with some momentum.
Okay, then we take a little break, July, August, NFL season.
Yeah.
We're going to fast forward all the way to December. The World Cup draw, it's going to be the largest field ever, 48 teams. There'll be some European teams that aren't quite solidified yet, so it's going to be 42 that we know of. But this is a huge day for everybody.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's always at least one. Sometimes there's even 2 groups of death. You don't want to be in that.
No.
What you want is to have one of the teams that's like an underdog story there in your group.
Yes.
However, because of the bigger field now, it's no longer just top 2 teams from each group. Some third-place teams will still advance to the round of 32 because 32 teams now make it to the knockout phase.
That being said, Brew, I do not want to be in the group of death.
No.
Hey, what group
No.
are you in? The group of death.
We want the group of life.
Yes.
That's right. We
Yeah.
want the group of
Yeah,
life.
that's
No
right.
question
Much
about
easier.
it.
Yeah.
Then, of course, we're going to fast forward. Games kicking off June 11th, match day 1. There's 2 games that day. There's games every day. We've got 11 U.S. cities, 3 Mexico cities, or Mexican cities.
Yeah.
Mexico City is one of them. Then Toronto and Vancouver, and your hometown,
Beautiful
Kansas City.
I gotta say, if I may, these are some of the biggest and most important from like a commerce and population perspective cities in North America.
Absolutely.
Plus Kansas City, which earned its spot based purely on being arguably certainly the most of the Midwest soccer diehard city in the country. That's awesome. And we get a quarterfinals match in Kansas City. That's dope, and it's going to be unbelievable.
Just the magnitude of this is kind of like a silly aside. But remember when we went for the parade, the airport was under construction specifically for
Yes.
that was the World Cup was one of the impetuses
One of the pushes, yeah,
of
for sure.
major infrastructure. Brew, shockingly, out of all these cities, none of your hometowns.
Wow.
That is shocking.
Really?
16, you'd have figured I
That's
had
a
a good
statistical
chance.
almost impossibility.
Totally.
Wow.
It's like when you
I
have
was
all
in
the
LA
people,
for a good
Yeah.
hot minute.
2
And New
birthdays.
Jersey is actually on there, Wiles.
Yeah.
What are you talking
Oh, yeah,
about?
It's
that
not a
counts. I'm sorry.
hometown.
That's actually where I live
Yeah,
now.
but it's not one of your homes.
That is a good segue to July 19th is the World Cup final at MetLife. Of course, last year in Qatar, Argentina won the last U.S. World Cup final at the Rose Bowl, Brazil over Italy in a famous match.
Can't wait. And MetLife gonna have the real grass. It should be from a lead-up perspective one of the biggest events in American sports history.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's good. What a summer and what a year for soccer around the world and on Fox. So more ahead. We've got Alexi Lawless, Stu joining us. Right now, we're going to go to the other final, the NBA Finals, preview a Game 4. Thunder favored by 6 in this one. Now, OKC has been here before, and they provided an immediate response, Brew. When they were down 2-1 on the road in Denver, they came out and held the Nuggets to 8 points in the first quarter and got the W to even this series. So here's SGA on being in this situation again.
Losing game 1 on a buzzer beater, winning big game 2, being up in game 3 and losing the lead. There's a lot of similarities. Now the teams are very different, so you can't kind of compare the situations too much. At the end of the day, we have to be who we are and who we've been all season, and I think we got back to that in that series. If we want to give ourselves a chance in this series, it has to be the same thing.
Okay, Brew, do you expect OKC to bounce back?
Well, this is where we find out how much they've learned throughout this postseason. And I talked about it all year. I felt they were too young to win the championship. But as the playoffs went on, specifically in that series against Denver, when they were down 2-1, I felt like, okay, they're starting to take their lumps in the process. And maybe in this strange season, they will have learned enough to go ahead and win. We're going to find out tonight if that's the case, or if they needed to take another big L in this series before they can ultimately win a championship in the future. So I do think they will bounce back, as he said, and people were asking him about. Denver, look, you were facing a champion, a team that's already proven it can win a championship. You were facing the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic, and they went in there and got it done in an absolute must-win in Game 4 on the road. And they did it with defense. They won that game 92-87.
Yep.
SGA said something very strong there. We have to get back to who we are. Yep. One of the things they're going to have to do, they've caused a decent number of turnovers, obviously in Game 1, but even 2 and 3, they got 15 and 14 turnovers. They just haven't turned them into points. And that is who they are. They have averaged 22 points a game off turnovers in the playoffs and the regular season, both of them league best. In this series, they've averaged 13 points off turnovers. Their half-court offense is Shea, and then it's like, okay, is Jay Will going to be able to get the buckets? Is Chet going to be able to be that second or third guy? They always aren't. They aren't always that, but they are able to override it because they get so many points off turnovers and in fast breaks. They haven't done that in this series, and that's why they're down 2-1. So I think tonight they will do it with their defense and even this thing up.
Listen, I think they will too. With that said, I've been wrong about almost everything this postseason. And the only thing that theoretically I could be right about is Oklahoma City winning it all, which after round 1, that's what I said. And I didn't think anybody could hang with OKC. Now, Denver obviously hung with them, and Indy is hanging with them. But they have to win tonight. And SGA has to be great. And here is the if I were an Oklahoma City fan, man, I don't know how much I would have slept the last couple days, especially if I'm a longtime Oklahoma City fan, because there is one kind of optimistic, pessimistic path, which is, all right, maybe we don't win this year, but we learn, we get the experience, and we come back. Man, 13 years ago, this franchise with a super young, MVP-led, awesome big three was up 1-0 in the NBA Finals. And in Game 2, they were down 2 with 10 seconds left and lost. And then in Game 3, they were down 1 with 90 seconds left and lost. And then in Game 4, they were tied with 3 minutes left and lost. And they did not win another Finals game as a franchise until a few days ago. So the idea that these opportunities are just going to be there for them, hey, we don't know that. Absolutely. We do know that right now, Chet, Shea, and J-Dub combine for about $58 million, and starting next year, they might combine for about $170 million. We also know, I shouldn't say no, but I feel like they are likely, if they could make 4 more finals as a group, they won't be as big of a favorite going into one as they were against this Pacers team. Now, maybe that was disrespecting the Pacers, but this is a golden opportunity. And if they lose tonight, to me, it's over. I think they are better than Indiana over a large enough sample. We'll see if they get the large enough sample. I expect them to win, and I expect Shea to be great. But if not, This is an all-time blown opportunity.
Quickly, Brew, OKC, after a loss this postseason, they are 5-0. They are win games by about 20 points. SGA's averaging 34 points. So you're expecting a big SGA game specifically.
I am. He's stepped up in the past when their backs are against the wall, so I expect him to play well, figure out what the problem was. And I would just say this quickly to Nick. If they lose tonight, this isn't a blown opportunity. Indiana was much better than we thought. Yep. That's what it is. If they lose this, I'm not going to say, oh, they blew it. I'm going to say, you know what? Indiana was actually the better team, assuming they go on in to win the series. Why not?
Because
Indiana has had the second best record in the league since January.
I understand that, but it still, to me, would be that you had home court. You were it. Now Indiana is too exceptionally healthy. That's the other piece of this. That because when you look back at the previous iteration of the Thunder that I referenced,
injuries really hurt.
Like there was a year Russ got hurt, a year KD missed. All they didn't have Harden. They traded away. Ibaka gets hurt. All that, but you had it all in front of you. And you're right that if the Pacers win, the fair thing to say is the Pacers are better. What's also true is through the first two games, Oklahoma City dominated the Pacers and was tied because they couldn't execute at the end of game one. And then at the end of game three, they have a lead in the fourth. They don't execute.
It would also just be personally devastating for you, Bro, that I became the Pacers guy.
That is true.
Well, you don't act like the Pacers guy.
Well, neither do you, buddy. Being from there, nobody's buying it.
Not really working.
All right, I'm gonna say it with my chest.
Joining us now is the voice of Fox Soccer, and as an added bonus, the star of the New York Times crossword puzzle.
I mean, can we just talk about that?
No, we're going to talk soccer, but that's
awesome.
the first thing. There's 1,000 things to talk to